Hey everyone, my name is William from TwoTwentyTwo Productions, and I would like to talk to you about the Daytona Beach Regional Finals episode of American Ninja Warrior Season 9 in approximately 20 minutes or less, starting now. So, the episode overall was good. I would say it was good. I had a few issues with it. I think I actually liked the Regional Qualifiers episode of Daytona more, but overall, it was good. So, this time around, of course, we started with the 6 obstacles from the regional qualifiers. That would be the floating steps, the rolling pin, the wing nuts, the broken bridge, the rolling thunder, and the warped wall. And as far as I can see, I couldn't notice any changes to those obstacles. Then, of course, it was followed by the salmon ladder. Then a new obstacle called the giant cubes, which were these 2 plexiglass structures that had the first... So from the salmon ladder, you got this diagonal pole that you have to climb down. And then from that pole, you grab onto some ledges, some cliffhanger-esque ledges to pull yourself up to the top of the first cube. That's like this lip that you have to travel around to the other side, and then you have to transfer to the other side, kind of like a spider flip motion. And then you got to transfer from that cube to the landing pad. The thing is that neither of the cubes, of the giant cubes, are actually cubes. Also, giant cubes, not the greatest name, just it doesn't really lack originality. So, the first cube is actually a rectangular prism, and the second cube is what is known as a square ferrum, in that it is a square pyramid that has its point cut off. So, that's what that is. But yeah, giant cubes is such like a lame name. They could have, like, I don't know, maybe put some water inside of one of the in the tanks and call them the aquariums, or maybe put some like, you know, plastic ball pit balls in them, and you can call them like the candy machines or something like that. Like, come on. I will say one thing that I did like is that how inside the second cube, or the ferrum, was a camera, so that you can get like a interesting point of view when they're making the flip. I did like that. Then afterwards is the return of the circuit board, which is an obstacle I actually like quite a bit. And then, of course, is the elevator climb, which got some things to say from this time around. I'm not going to go into everyone in order that they went. So I'll just say this. One of the things that was a bit weird in this episode is that they actually showed less runs compared to the first 2 regional finals. There was only 8 runs that were shown in full on this episode, and there was also additional 3 runs that were shown in mid progress, which is actually, so that's less runs than the first 2 regionals. And it feels like there's a lot more fluff pieces this time around, because it felt like there was a lot of people who we didn't see in qualifiers, many of them being people new to the audience, and they were like these big introductions. It felt a lot like a regional qualifiers in terms of how they presented the contestants this time around. And then, you know, 20 of the ninjas got fast forward. So of the 34 ninjas, 3 of them got cut completely, which I think is actually the same as last week, the number that got cut. But it's just this weird pacing thing. I don't know if it's always been like this or if I'm just noticing this time around, but yeah, only 11 runs. That's not good when you consider that there's only 11 segments on this show. There's 10 commercial breaks on American Ninja Warrior. If you're only showing 11 runs, that's 1 run per segment. That's low. That's just too low, quite frankly. So the episode started off with Eddie Stewart, who I'm a big fan of. I like the whole muscular pectoral thing that he had going on for him. I had this whole joke in my head that if he ever became a captain on Team Ninja Warrior, the name of his team should be Team Mantis, as in, you know, a praying mantis, but partially because it kind of sounds like a different phrase. Hopefully some people will get that. But yeah, Team Mantis. Big fan of that. Unfortunately, he went out on the giant cubes, but part of that was because on the rolling pin, he got like punched in the face by the obstacle, and his lip started bleeding. And he took a pretty hard fall on the broken bridge. He kind of like landed like almost face first onto the landing pad. He was. It definitely felt like by the time he got to the salmon ladder giant cube combo, it felt like he was distracted by the blood in his mouth and maybe like falling on his face. But unfortunately, he went out on the giant cubes, which is a shame. And also was a shame was Brenton Sims, who got fast forwarded, failed the salmon ladder. And it's just like, oh man, that's a bummer. I was kind of hoping to do well. They showed Brie Weiner failed the Rolling Thunder against Cedric Ado, failed the Wingnuts. There was this one guy named Ricky Vu who, poor guy, he got cramps. He got like major leg cramps on the floating steps, and they actually had to forfeit due for medical reasons because he couldn't move on the obstacle. They had to help him down, and that's gotta suck. I felt for him. Also, I felt bad for Booty. He got eliminated at the Rolling Thunder. I was hoping he can make it through, but he just couldn't do it. There was this, just kind of going into like the whole new people. You had people like, Josh Butler, who, talked about this whole story about adopting a child with medical issues after they lost their own newborn with medical issues. He went on the salmon ladder. Michael Johnson, another person that they introduced, about how he's running for his mom, aunt, and grandma, and he had like ice in his veins. I believe that was one of the things. And how he failed on the giant cube. They had a wakeboard champion, Emily Durham, which I think this is not her first time, but I don't remember seeing her before. She failed the Rolling Thunder. She had a segment. Then just a whole bunch of people failed the giant cubes. I was really, I really would have liked to see more from people like Royal Easton and Rico Rivera and Ryan Stratus, who all got fast forwarded and all failed the giant cubes. I don't know. I might make another segment, another video at some point during the off season, but I feel like A&W needs to modify the course because, so many times in A&W the cutoff point is failing the 8th obstacle, and I feel like that needs to be changed because it's getting a bit redundant at this point. Another new guy, Rigel Henry. He had has this whole thing like his catchphrase goes "skeep," which I don't get it. I mean, seems like a nice guy. I was rooting for him. He went on the giant cubes. He went out early, and it was just he tried to dismount early and ended up failing. It's just, yeah. I mean, a lot of these runs, like there was nothing bad about them. It was just pretty bog standard runs, and it just gets kind of a bit old when everyone is just failing the giant cubes. Kevin Carboni, the guy who designed the Wingnuts, it was nice to see him. He came up with some neat-looking new obstacles. One that was called the Chopsticks, which I saw someone who I'm friends with on Facebook, one of the ninjas, end up sharing a very similar design. I don't know if Kevin Carboni helped out with that or if there was some collaboration, but basically it's kind of like Crank It Up, but it's like you gotta move these logs that you're hanging from up these pegs. It's cool. He also came with an obstacle idea that combines a salmon ladder with a pegboard. I almost feel like I've seen other people do that. I could be imagining things. But, I mean, that's a cool idea. Essentially, you got to use the pegs to create the rungs, and you got to... I like it. I mean, it looks like it's slow as heck and might not be interesting on an actual show. But as an obstacle, it's interesting. That's everything from the first page, really, I wanted to cover. Yeah, so moving on. They talk about J.J. Woods again. They had this whole thing about this little girl that he knows. They started him midway at the Rolling Thunder. He made it. I believe he was the first person that they showed at the elevator climb. Yes, they were. The first person they showed at the elevator climb. Actually, there's one thing I forgot. Kevin Carbone, he came with this neat technique for the giant cubes, where essentially on the pole he like shifted his body so that he's much higher up, and then he can grab the ledge a lot easier. That was cool. And then you had J.J. Woods, who he did the same thing. And then he made it to the elevator climb, and much like many other people who failed the elevator climb, he just has that look of like, I can tell you're done. Then they featured Lindsay X-Kilson. Lindsay X-Kilson, let's go with that. Former gymnast. They talk about another ninja romance. Joe Green, which I want to know, did he compete this year and they just not feature him at all? Because the whole thing's like they're a long distance relationship, but she ended up being the one of the two women who moved on to Vegas after she made it to the Rolling Thunder faster than the other women below her. What's interesting is that she got hit in the face a few times on the course. She got hit in the face on the rolling pin, and then she got hit in the face on the Rolling Thunder, and that thing's like 100 pounds, and it's just because like she's just she's doing it like this. And then when she got to the first drop, it was just kind of like, bam, like, boom. Because, it's one of those things where it's like, essentially the Rolling Thunder fell faster than she did. So it's just, yeah, that can feel good. But like, they did this segment after her run where Christine Leahy was like, "Hey, let's rewatch you getting hit in the face multiple times again. Give us a commentary of you getting hit in the face. Tell us what that's like to get hit in the face. We just love it when women get hit in the face." Okay, she didn't say that part, but I don't know. It's always find it weird. It's just like, hey, let's relive your injuries. I'm sorry, that was stupid. And then actually another one I want to talk about is Sean Darling-Hammond. He was part of Jamie Ron's team during Team Ninja Warrior Season 2. He is a lawyer, I believe. They gave him the nickname the Giving Ninja. I just want to say, I knew nothing about this guy prior to Team Ninja Warrior Season 2. He might have even been in Team Ninja Warrior Season 1, and I just completely forgot. I knew nothing about this guy. If he was in A&W in the past, he was shown on TV. I just completely forgot. I apologize. Holy crap, this guy comes across as like the nicest guy in the world. Like, he said that like if he wins the million, he's going to donate all of it to charity. And they showed video footage of him distributing free lunches to people on the wait line, on the walk-on line. And it's like, you are like the ultimate good guy in this right now. I really want you to do well now. Good for you, Sean Darling-Hammond. Good for you. Really looking forward to that. Seeing more from him. But he looked good. He looked good. Until he got to the elevator climb. And about halfway through, you can tell that he ran out of gas. You can tell he ran out of gas because he was still doing the pumping motions, but he was making zero progress at one point. So it's like, Yeah, and that's how you can tell that someone's out of it, where they're moving, but they're literally just going nowhere. And yeah, he went out on the elevator climb. But hey, good for him going to Vegas. Looking forward to seeing more from him. Hopefully he doesn't get fast forwarded in Vegas. Then they did Jessie Graff. I don't know if you heard of this person before. So yeah, one of the whole things is like, can she get revenge on the Rolling Thunder that took her out in qualifying? Turns out the answer was yes. So yeah, she was actually easily the most improved of all the regional finalists in Daytona. When she got to the giant cubes, she actually did the split-legged thing that a few people did on the spider flip. What's it called? I-beam gap in Cleveland. So she split her legs through and looked good. Looked good. It's a shame that NBC spoiled that last week when I wasn't expecting them to do that. Okay, I just have to say this. I know they're not trying to, but it feels like A&W is sabotaging Jessie. Because, like, between showing her full run on USA versus the World, and now this where they showed her, doing the splits on... They showed her doing the splits on the giant cubes, and it was basically... It basically confirmed that she cleared that obstacle, and, at that point, it pretty much guarantees that you're moving on, just based on history. It makes the runs less exciting when you know what's going to happen. And I wish they would stop doing this to Jessie. You can imply things. You can show her earlier on the course. Show a lot of footage of Matt and Akbar reacting, because that could mean anything. Don't show her doing things on the course, especially on the back half, because it takes away excitement. And I love Jessie Graff. I've been a fan of her since A&W 5 when she first debuted. I was always a big fan of her, but like, don't take away my enjoyment of her runs. That's all I ask. You're not doing her any favors. I just wanted to get that out of the way. But she actually ended up being only the second woman to make it to the final obstacle in regional finals course. Really cool. I didn't know if she was going to make it that far because they didn't spoil it that much. But she made it to the elevator climb. Again, you could kind of tell halfway through that she was going to fail when she started going nowhere. She had a smile on her face the whole time. I'm glad that she was still having fun. It's always nice to see when people are having fun on the course, as in like they're genuinely enjoying it, not like goofing off or anything like that. But yeah, she ended up failing. It was a bit scary when she fell. To me, because the way that she fell, the handles, one of the handles fell all the way down to her, and I genuinely thought it was going to land on her. I was very worried about that. That's one of the downsides of the elevator climb, is that there is no retraction system holding it up. If it falls, it's going to fall all the way, and so I was kind of worried. Like, I don't know, that looked a bit unsafe. Then they fast forward Travis Rosen, who failed the circuit boards. He also did the splits, like Jessie did, so that was cool. But like, man, I want to see Travis Rosen. Come on, guys, sort yourself out. Then the final one was Drew Dreshel. They talked about how he used to be a car salesman in 2012. It's weird because like they promoted it as like, oh, the big secret that you didn't know, even though they talked about it in A&W back in 2012. So, not that much of a secret. Maybe if you're a newer viewer, but I knew. When he was going, Eddie Stewart was on the bubble, and I was very conflicted because I wanted both guys to go on to Vegas. I like both guys. So, no matter what, I was going to lose out in this case. I do like that they did Drew last again. That's 3 weeks in a row where the person who went the furthest, who took first place in the regional qualifiers, is the last to run in regional finals. And they showed who was on the bubble, because that is what actually happened at the taping. I like that. Drew clear the course, and he looked good doing it. He's the once again only one clear on a regional, which actually makes me very concerned about Denver and Kansas City, because those two regionals I would consider the two hardest regionals. And so now you got this situation where it's like, oh man, are those regions just going to have zero qualifiers? I wouldn't be surprised if it happened at this point. But one thing I noticed that when he was doing the elevator climb at the very top, they put a piece of plexiglass on the platform between like the floor and the first horizontal bar. That wasn't there in the first two regionals, so they probably noticed that Daniel Gill like hooked his feet when he was getting on the platform, and they wanted to prevent that in the future. One of the things that I've seen people point about the elevator climb is that like it's like 5 feet higher than the vertical limit was, the invisible ladder was, and there's actually handles at the top that you can grab onto, like a bar at the very top. You hold on, and then transfer to the platform. But no one does that because you want to finish the obstacle sooner, and so they do this whole awkward upside down, pull themselves up sort of thing. It's a bit of a funky obstacle from a safety and logistics point. I like it, but there's just been a few times this season where I'm just like, oh my god, please don't kill yourself on this obstacle. I am genuinely concerned for your well-being. I don't know. It's just me. Drew, I mean, it's actually really interesting that Drew and Daniel, the two people who made it to stage 3 last year, are the only clears in their regional. They're both looking really good. On the giant cubes, it was a pretty funny moment. Drew tried to do the split like Jessie did and realized he couldn't, which, hey, you tried, and then you decided to abort that when you realized you couldn't, so good on you. Yeah, I mean, Drew just looks calm and collected in like a lot of things that he does on AEW these days, and it shows, and he's probably going to do well again. I would be surprised if he failed before stage 3 in Vegas. I don't know if he's going to clear stage 3. I don't know. He might. There's a good chance he will. But I don't know if I doubt that he'll fail before stage 3. So, yeah, I expect big things from Drew. Expect big things. And that's all she wrote. I'm just going to quickly, let's go through the top 15. Actually, top 15 and woman. So 16 people are going to Vegas from the Daytona Regional instead of 17. So we have one completion in Drew Dreschel. 3 people failed the elevator climb in JJ Woods, Sean Darling-Hammond, and Jessie Graff. We have 4 people who failed the circuit board in Travis Rosen, Cassidy Marks, Tyler Gillette, and Kevin Carbone, and the rest failed the giant cube in Rigel Henry, Nick Patel, Lucas Gomez, Rico Rivera, Ryan Estradas, Dustin Fishman, and Michael Johnson. And Jessie had already finished in the top 15, so the other woman moving on to Vegas is Lindsay Excluson. Sorry. Who failed the Rolling Thunder. And that's your 16 people moving on to Las Vegas. And done. So there you go. That's my thoughts on Daytona Beach. It was good. It was good. But yeah, these regional finals, there's some things that have been kind of weird so far this year. I'm not enjoying the regional finals as much as I'm enjoying as much as I enjoy the regional finals, which is usually the opposite for me. So yeah, we'll have to see. Next week is actually Cleveland, not Kansas City. And it turns out the reason for that is because on the Monday that Cleveland was supposed to air originally, there's a Cleveland's Brown preseason game that's going to air at that time on NBC, and so NBC wants Cleveland to watch the Cleveland episode without any sort of delay or interruption or sporting events getting in its way. So that's nice. Makes me concerned still, because that probably means that the last 2 regional finals are going to be bloodbaths, because that means the 2 hardest ones are last. So yeah, what did you think of the Daytona Beach qualifiers? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Are you okay with there being so few regional final clears so far? Do you want to see more? How do you feel about the giant cubes? Let me know. Let me know how you feel. And until next time, goodbye.